Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary here in New York City, and I am joined by the heavyweight champ, who's also the light heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel Cormier. You're fighting this week, and I feel like if we would have talked about this 6 weeks ago, and I would have said, oh, you're gonna be fighting Derrick Lewis in the main event at Madison Square Garden, you probably would have said, no, I'm not.
No chance. I'd have said no chance. I mean, I was just hanging out. You know, I was literally just hanging out with my family, working, and just kind of enjoying life, you know, as after what I did in July. But when the opportunity was presented, I thought, man, this is a big chance to defend the heavyweight title and also fight at Madison Square Garden. You know, and any combat sports athlete knows that if you get to fight at the Garden, especially headline the Garden, it's a big deal.
Did you think in your career that was just something you weren't going to be able to do? Because we've had fights here, but you just haven't been on the card, and you're looking towards somewhat of the end of your career, maybe in the spring.
Yeah, I thought the time wouldn't work, because when you look at the UFC comes to New York City every November, right? And I was like, man, July works, November works, but I had broke my hand, and then it seemed like it wasn't healing as fast as I needed it to. I was like, it's just not gonna work this time. And they called me about a month ago and said, you know, how are you feeling? You know, I was like, well, I think my hand's actually gonna be okay. And I said, let me look at it. Let me try to punch some is what I said exactly. And if it holds up, I'll do it. And when I punched a guy's face, it held up, and then I took the fight.
And then you were offered Derrick Lewis. Was that the opponent you were expecting?
Not expecting, but I mean, I watched Derrick at UFC 229, and I was like, wow, you know, this guy, he's impressive. You know, I was like, so maybe. And then when I started to look at his record and everything that he's done, it became more realistic, right? Because when I left the arena on Saturday from the fight, I had no inclination that it was gonna be Derrick Lewis. I was still just gonna fight Brock Lesnar and see what happened. Yeah. But then they called me on Monday, and they said, think about it. Like, just think about maybe fighting Derrick at Madison Square. They go, but also think about what he's done, right? Because you think Derrick Lewis, I'm like, Derrick Lewis. They're like, think about it though. Think about what he's done, who he is. I go, okay. They said he's won 9 out of his last 10, all knockouts. They go, he beat the #1 ranked contender in July, and he just beat the #3 ranked contender in October. They go, this guy deserves a title fight, and if you're willing to fight him, you know, we think we can make it happen. And I was like, you know, he does. You know, he started off 3-2 in the UFC, and now he's 12-3. You know, the guy's really been crushing it.
You know he's gonna come out swinging. That's what he does. In terms of your expectation for how this fight goes, what are you looking at? Because he's got those heavy hands.
I think we have to take what Derrick says sometimes with a grain of salt. He's even admitted it. He goes, some things are true, some things aren't. You know, a guy says, I don't deserve a title shot. He's sitting there tired with his underwear in the middle of an octagon. But when you look at his body of work, he actually does. He does deserve a title shot. He's as deserving as anyone else in the division. And he will bring it. You know, he'll bring the fight. That's what he does. The only way he knows how to fight is just throwing everything with 100% power. But when you're where I am and you've seen what I've seen and been where I've been, nothing surprises you anymore. Everybody punches hard, and I think that I'm gonna beat him up. You know, I truly believe that there are just levels to this game, and not many guys are at the level that I fight at.
Do you think that this goes the 5 rounds it's scheduled for?
This doesn't go 5 rounds.
What do you think it goes?
I'm gonna exhaust him. I'll get him done by 3. I think he's done by 3, but you never know. This is a heavyweight fight. Anything can happen, but man, smart money is I get this dude done by 3.
All right, and you know, Stipe Miocic, he's been pretty vocal about wanting this fight back and saying, this should be me.
Yeah, and I mean, rightfully so. You know, he's the longest reigning champ of all time, and it was very surprising that when he started to chirp, so many people supported his cause. But ultimately, he is the longest reigning UFC heavyweight champ of all time. And to fight him on a month's notice is not the best idea when I think about it. It's not the best idea when I think about fighting Derrick. But unless Derrick has just taken his training camp before Volkov, rolled it into this one, and worked harder than he's ever worked in his entire life, he could not have outworked me and gotten his cardio up to the way that I fight to be able to stay with that pace, you know, but Stipe can. So in essence, I'm giving Stipe a compliment, but he's just kind of batting it away.
Let's go back to your preparation then for Derrick. What were your main concerns for yourself heading into this? What were you thinking, like, okay, I have to make sure that I'm focusing on this to be ready?
Cardio. I need to get my cardio. And you know, with a month, you can get in pretty good cardio shape. I mean, you train, you work out, you know that in the beginning, you're like, I can't breathe, I'm dying, right? But then a week later, you feel a little better. And a week later, you feel a little better. And then by the third week, you're like, okay, I'm ready to start rolling, right? So it was really focusing on cardio because I know how to fight. I know how to fight. You know, as long as I'm in shape and prepared, my timing is on, I can fight anybody in the world. So I just need to really get my cardio up, and that's been the focus.
So what happens here? You fight Derrick Lewis. You still hold the light heavyweight belt. I know there's that fight with Brock Lesnar that everybody's been looking forward to. What's the path?
The beauty in my situation is that I have 2 belts, you know, and I have options. The problems that I face are great problems to have. They say they're going to take the light heavyweight title once Jones and Gustafsson start to fight, but that was with the plan or the contingency that I get the first title fight if I decide to go back down and fight that guy. The only thing missing is the actual belt, you know, and everything else stays the same. But if I don't choose to do that, then I have the biggest, most cash rewarding fight there is in the game outside of McGregor, and that's Brock Lesnar. You know, so I've got some good options. They tell me Brock may be ringside this weekend. I look forward to getting after him again if he does after I beat Lewis, because last time he pushed me. And I wasn't ready. I need to dig my feet into the ground because I don't like the visual of him flinging me halfway across the octagon.
But your teammates and your coaches were very supportive there.
Rosendo was, but he also has come clean. He said, I said, what if he'd have turned and attacked me? He goes, you had better been right behind him, because he knew he was in trouble. It would have been like a pit bull on a poodle. And honestly, I would have let Brock beat him up too. It would have been the funniest in the world. I'd have been cheering for Brock. Brock, kick his ass. He needs it.
Oh my
Could you
God.
imagine? It'd be like the Hulk grabbing Loki.
I thought
It'd be like the
this-
Hulk and Loki, just bang, bang, bang. That would have been hilarious.
When it was happening, I was like, does he even feel that? Or like, what?
He kind of looked off to the side. Brock's like, wait, what? Did a man push me, or is there a kid in here? Brock's like, wait. It's like he didn't even move him. It's like Ro, he pushed him hard too, but then he stopped like, wait, what did I just do? Ro had no idea what was next. You know, he just kind of pushed him and was like, wait, what did I just do?
Oh my gosh, Daniel, it's so great to see you in such great spirits during fight week. You know, you're always such a pleasure to work with, but it's nice to see you not have to worry about the weight cut during this week, especially with the short notice fight. If they would have said, yeah, Madison Square Garden, but this is light heavyweight, would you?
It would have been tough. I mean, I did that before with Rumble in the initial title fight. Remember, it was only 3.5 weeks to Rumble. And they said, okay, you got a month to get down the weight and fight for the title. I hadn't been UFC champion before, so I was like, I will do everything. I mean, I was doing 3 workouts a day, 7 days a week, because I needed to be prepared. I just got on the scale right now for check-in with my clothes, my shoes, my coffee, my phone in my pocket, my Beats, and I weigh 254 pounds. So I'm like 245, 246 again, you know, so it's perfect. It's like the best thing in the world.
Now you can go have good New York meals with your family.
I can. We had some good the other day, but I don't get to eat whatever I want. You know, I have a nutritionist, Ian Larios, Lockhart and Leith. They're still working with me, and you know, those guys keep a close eye on me, because otherwise I'll be in the Pringles.
Excellent. Well, Daniel, it's always such a pleasure. Best of luck to you. We're excited to see you compete at the world's most famous arena.
Megan, thank you so much, and congratulations on all the success that you're having. The NFL and Fox stuff is awesome. I'm very happy and proud for you.
We got to have our morning show now.
We
That's
need
next.
to, right? That's what's next. Thanks, Megan.